What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about my second giant spider movie of the year. Crazy to think that there has been two of these movies released this year. And when I saw the trailer to this at the theater, it looked kind of corny and ridiculous, but it looked like it was going to be fun enough to be enjoyable. And I wanted to watch this while it was in the theater, but I didn't get the opportunity to. So it's finally available on VOD, and I decided to check it out. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is Sting. Sting is directed by Kiah Roache-Turner. After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, 12-year-old Charlotte must face the truth about her pet and fight for her family's survival. So, as I said, I was interested in checking out this movie. I saw the trailer a bunch of times when I was at the theater, and this movie has some incredible effects and some truly horrific moments, but it definitely doesn't work as a whole. I was relatively let down by the entirety of the experience because the performances here are not very good. The dialogue is like really bad in a way that's like not even charming or so bad it's good funny. It's just like bad. There's really poor ADR in the film. Some of the cinematography is incredibly dark, and I'll talk about all of it when I break the film down as a whole. So at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to young Charlotte, who lives at home with her stepdad and her mom and her baby brother. And her stepdad draws comics, and he's trying to be the ever-present father because her real dad walked out. And the entire early parts of the film is kind of building their relationship and showing that tension that exists there. And Charlotte is like a curious kid. She's constantly exploring the complex that they live in. And one day she finds a spider, and she takes the spider into her room and puts it in a jar, and she starts talking to it and spending time with it. And the spider starts growing larger and larger until it gets so big that it starts wreaking havoc on the people in the apartment complex. And the film is everyone in the apartment complex trying to survive this giant spider. So, as I said, this movie was a letdown, but I do want to start by talking about the positives. I loved the visual effects in this movie. I think they did a really great job mixing computer generated effects with practical, and all the practical stuff in this looked really fantastic. There were a lot of like gnarly, nasty kill sequences that I was really shocked at how much detail there were when people would get like webbed up and attached to the walls. I really liked how nasty the webbing looked. The distress and the horror in the characters' faces really attributed to just how gnarly the visual effects were. And that is what kept me engaged in the movie for as long as I was because the effects were really solid. I never would have expected a movie like this to have really great effects. And I talked about that Shudder original movie Infested a month or so ago. That was also a giant spider movie that had some really cool effects as well. But I almost felt like the effects in this movie were better. There were elements in this that just really made me feel kind of sick. There's one kill in particular towards the beginning of the movie that's really disgusting. And that I love when you're watching a horror movie about giant bugs or creatures. Like when you put that much attention to detail, it gives you as an audience member a very guttural reaction to see something that can feel very realistic. It didn't feel so computer generated that it was corny. It was like really impressive the way that they did that. Some of the family dynamic stuff works better than others. As a whole, it comes off more corny than anything else. And most of the characters in this movie are relatively throwaway. And outside of the effects and some of the horrific sequences, I don't have a lot of positive things to say about the movie. The performances here are all pretty lackluster. I didn't think any of the actors in here give a really great performance. There's really poor ADR in some of the moments here, and if you're not familiar as what ADR is, when you film a movie and you record dialogue, sometimes the dialogue can be off or a microphone doesn't capture it accurately. So they have actors come in later on and re-record their dialogue and put it over the sequence. And the mouth movements never match up because you're never going to deliver the dialogue exactly the same as the way that you delivered it the first time you were on set. And there are moments in this movie where it is incredibly noticeable and it's very distracting in those moments. There's some directors that have incredible editors and people that can do a really great job incorporating it in like a reverse shot where you don't see the person's mouth move as much. But like in this movie, not the case. There's some moments where it really kind of took me out of it, just how bad the ADR was. The cinematography in this movie is dark, and I mean it's very dark. There are some moments where they want to have some terrifying sequences that you are legitimately looking as hard as you can at the screen to try to see what's going on. And it's like, I get, budgetary limitations. You want to have cool visual effects, which this movie does have, but like, give us something else. Be more creative with like shadows or certain things that you can do so that we can actually look at something instead of just like a screen that looks almost completely black because of just like how dark everything in a room is. And that was really distracting as well. Some of the dialogue sequences in this movie were just plain bad. Like the relationship stuff, the things that the kid was getting mad about, it was all so nonsensical, poorly thrown together. I felt like they wanted some kind of conflict to be introduced outside of just this giant spider is trying to kill everyone in this complex, and everything felt so phony and really cheesy in a way that wasn't like endearing or comical, or like so bad it's good. It was just bad. And so any of those moments where there was that like trying to build on that family dynamic or create any sort of sense of familial tension, I was completely uninvested in the movie at that point. I was like, let's just get back to scenes of the spider killing people. And then in the third act, there's like this bug exterminator that's introduced, and his actions just feel like they come out of nowhere. And the movie wraps up really quickly in a very unsatisfying way. Like, I feel like they could have done so much more to really let it sink in and kind of sit with you after the movie was over. But it was almost like, okay, we spent all this time to get here. Now let's just wrap it up really quickly and get the movie over with. And so by the end, I was like, man, this movie had so many cool visual effects. And there was like a lot of great practical moments with close-ups of the spider that I really liked a lot. But outside of that, it's just like completely ineffective as a movie because I don't care about the characters. The performances are really bad, and it just could have been something so much better in the hands of a different creative team. And that's incredibly upsetting because I saw the potential throughout this entire movie and it just fell short in about every single way. So have you seen Sting? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredibly disappointing despite the really amazing visual effects. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.